The Bible's full of stuff you never read. You just can't keep it straight in your head. I'm gonna tell you now what's in that book. Okay, so look.
Alright, we've still got that intro, so there's that. I should probably change that. But, I should probably do a lot of things. For example, I'd said maybe I was going to get some people on here to help me do a podcast, talk about things, actually have a conversation going. But I have not organized that, so instead it's just me talking again. So, let's talk. Genesis chapter 2 verses 3 through 25, otherwise known as Forget What I Just Told You. So, in the second chapter of Genesis, God apparently forgets that he's just populated the earth with plants and people, and so he does it again. This time, God makes it just a man, not a couple, and he drops him off in the Garden of Eden as a groundskeeper. The garden is beautiful and full of fruit-bearing trees of all types, but there are two in particular that get mentioned. One is the tree of life, and the other is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God tells the man that he can eat from any tree except that last one, and doesn't see the major flaw in this plan. Now, it's worth noting that the Bible has not claimed that God is omniscient at this point, which is good, as this is the sort of thing that would really call that into question. In fact, all we know about God so far is that he's a bit absent-minded, and has had to create a new person because he can't remember where he put the other ones. The new man doesn't really get a name. He's just called Adam, which is the Hebrew word for man. Since he is the only one in the garden, though, it works as well as anything. If God says, "Hey, man," the man's going to know who he's talking to. He's still a one-up on the animals, which don't have names at all. God brings them all by and asks Adam what he wants to call them, and only then do they get names. Now, the purpose of this naming ceremony, it appears, is that God was looking for Adam to choose a helper, an animal to be his partner. It's not clear what name would have let God know that Adam had chosen one. Maybe he thought one would get named Honey Bunch or something similar. Nothing did, though, and so God sent Adam to sleep and stole one of his ribs, which he made into a woman. This is pretty deeply weird, and no real explanation is given for it. Adam remarks that the woman is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh, but given that he was pretty recently made out of dirt himself, it's unclear why the woman couldn't just be dirt-based as well. Maybe God just did it in as complex a manner as possible, so that he'd remember what he made. After all, he made a couple of people the easy way in the first chapter of Genesis, and completely forgot about them. The rib trick could have just been God's way of making it memorable this time. In any case, at the end of the second chapter, we're about back where we were at the end of the first. There are a couple of humans without names. They've established their dominion over the animals, and they're only allowed to eat fruit. The chapter ends by declaring that both the man and the woman are naked and unashamed, which is a fairly obvious announcement that things are about to go very wrong for them.